I've always wanted children. I regret that, not having children. I love Christmas. I think I'd be a good daddy, don't you think?
You're such a loving man.
Well, maybe I'll adopt you. I want you to take the money that you're earning and to buy a house here in Las Vegas. I'll co-sign, but it'll be in your name, so you'll have some security. Would you like that?
Are you serious?
I want to be everything to you, Scott. I want to be father, brother, lover, best friend, everything.
And that was a clip from Behind the Candelabra. It's brand new and it stars, of course, Michael Douglas. Michael, good afternoon. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Simon, good afternoon, and thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you on the programme. Behind the Candelabra, an interesting title which I want to discuss in just a moment because the title actually says quite a lot of stuff.
Do you really want to discuss the title, Simon?
Well, let's talk about...
You're a brave man.
Well, okay. Well, okay, well, let's do it now then, okay? So you're playing Liberace, of course. I think everyone knows that. It's just that Behind the Candelabra doesn't really hide very much. And therefore, I thought that's actually quite intriguing. But anyway, maybe we're starting at the wrong place. So
possibly at the wrong end. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so tell us about the movie and tell us about how you came to be playing Liberace.
Boy. It was, the year was 2000, and Steven Soderbergh, our director, and I were making a movie called Traffic, which was based upon your series that you had here years ago. And one day, Steven was looking at me, and he said, have you ever thought about playing Liberace? And by the way, in this movie, in Traffic, I play a drug czar, you know. And I got nervous. I thought, well, I don't know, was he messing with me? Am I mincing a little bit? I don't quite get it. But he obviously had this fascination. So I began to do a couple of jokes and takeoffs, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And he sort of, we forgot about it. And then in 2007, before I knew it, he'd found the entrance or the way into the whole story of Liberace through a novel called Behind the Candelabra that one of Liberace's lovers, Scott Thornton, had written. And this became the entrance, and he got Jerry Weintraub as a producer to buy the book, and then he got Richard LaGravenese, who's a great Hollywood writer, to write this fantastic screenplay. And then nobody wanted to make it. None of the studios wanted to touch it, even with Matt Damon, who he got as the other character, and myself. The movie is about two gay lovers. Liberace was a very famous performer in the 60s and 70s in Las Vegas, the highest paid performer in the world, more than Elvis Presley and all of that. But nobody wanted to. And so finally it came to fruition through HBO, which is sort of I guess you have it over here.
Yeah.
It's a paid subscription audience part. And we got it made, and we just came back from Cannes, where the film festival, and I thought it was quite an honor, acknowledged that even though this was supposedly a made-for-television film, it is being released around the world, here in England, June 7th, gave it the honor of in competition, which I think is a sort of a sign of our times, really.
Was it too gay for Hollywood?
I think they thought it was only going to get a gay audience, which is probably still pretty substantial, but the picture translates much more than that. It's a great love story. It's funny. Obviously, we're dealing with a whole glitz of the 70s, and I'm up here from Cannes right now. The festival's going on. We just screened it, and quite honestly, we're just all blown away. We've got an incredible reviews for me and Matt and Steven Soderbergh. All of us have gotten like the best reviews in our life, and it's sort of taking on a life of its own now with this momentum, and I think your listeners are going to enjoy it.
I think they will. And London's Evening Standard newspaper, the critic there said it was your best ever performance.
Well, I'm honored. I probably think it's right up with it. I had a great part, and I'm very grateful for this part because it came right out of my my 2-year kind of cancer bout. So I did have some time to rehearse, to say the least, in terms of the piano and some of the other aspects of it. And I attacked this part with a vengeance and was in good company. Matt's a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time. Steven Soderbergh, I've known for a long time. So it's it's easier to kiss a friend than a stranger.
Yeah, and I'll take your word for that. But you certainly attack it with a joie de vivre, Michael. I mean, you're clearly having, not only is this a fantastic script, but you are having a fantastic time. And from the first moment that we see you, everyone, we relax because you've nailed it. And this is just an extraordinary performance that you've turned in. And I wonder what the key was, whether it came straight away. Was it the walk that you needed? Was it the voice that you needed? How did it come?
It came in steps. I attacked the voice first and the piano playing. Stephen, our director, felt, if we could nail the piano playing early on, which is easy for him to say because I'm not a piano player. But I worked really, hard on looking at old Liberace footage that he'd done and kind of mocking and trying to copy the fingering on the playing. But then we had all the prosthetics. We had 3 different looks in this picture. The first early one where Matt and I are together, and then our old married couple look where we all got fat, and then the cosmetic surgery look. And these are all steps. So this is a performance where I have a lot to thank. Liberace as a person, all the hair and makeup people for all the work they did, our costume designer. It was a chance to flaunt it,
And you certainly do. And you certainly do. Do you think, Michael, that there's a generation, maybe 2 generations, who need to be told who Liberace was?
Yes and no. The truth of the matter is, if you knew Freddie Mercury, if you know Lady Gaga, if you know Madonna, if you know Elton John, a lot of their whole look and design was based on Liberace. He was the first one to really, go the extravaganza with the wardrobes and all of that. And you have to trust, as wacko as the American culture is, that this guy was it in the 60s and 70s, the biggest star in Las Vegas. And the oddest part of it, because we know how gay he was and how camp, that people weren't bothered. They weren't even thinking about it. He just was contagious. His enjoyment, his joy of performing sort of superseded anything in front of him.
And I think you met him once.
I met him once with my father, Kirk, in Palm Springs, California, and just at a stop sign. He was in a convertible with his hair not moving.
Now we know why.
Yes, now we know why. He has a very good wigs and an incredible amount of jewelry on. And then, later on, as I found out I was going to do this project, I asked my father, who knew him, and a lot of other people, and he was just as wonderfully gracious, great host, very generous person. And quite honestly, I don't get a chance to play that many nice people, so that was an additional reason.
Yeah, but we all know that even when you're playing a lousy character, you're still charming, and we forgive you for pretty much anything. Can I ask you about their relationship between Liberace and Scott? Because on the one hand, it's very normal, and on the other hand, there are bits of it which are very weird. So that when Liberace talks about adopting him, for example. And when he suggests that Scott has plastic surgery to make him look more like the younger Liberace, this is unusual to say the least.
Wait, you don't understand that?
No.
Well, I think they both were lonely in their own rights. There was almost a 35, 40-year age difference between them. Scott, the part that Matt Damon plays, came out of foster homes and everything, was looking for a father. Lee, who had an affinity for young men of age, I might add. Was attracted to him, obviously physically in the beginning, as he was other guys. But people who see the movie, and even the first 5 or 10 minutes, then the first time that Matt and I kiss each other, there's a little titter. But soon after that, you kind of forget it's Matt and I, and you just get involved in this relationship. And so I think that it makes a lot of sense, quite honestly, when he said he wanted to adapt him. He wanted to adopt him as his son.
Well, adopt and adapt.
Exactly. Exactly.
I wonder if you've ever spent more time in a bath in a movie.
In a movie, I haven't spent that much time in real life.
I mean, you're either playing the piano, which is extraordinary, or you're in a bath.
In a bath. And how about Matt Damon's Brazilian tan line?
Yes, I'm trying not to be too jealous.
Well, I mean, we had some, as you say, we had some very intense scenes in the hot baths and a lot of long dialogue scenes. And the only thing that Matt would ask when he came out, he said, "Did you see my tan line?" And we said, "Yes, Matt, we saw your tan line."
The piano playing is one of the... I mentioned as soon as you come on, we know that you've nailed it. We know it's fantastic. We're in for a great ride for a couple of hours. But when we watch you playing the piano, and he was a virtuoso piano star, obviously, but I'm watching your hands, and you're clearly playing this piano, and we're all very impressed. Tell us what the truth is.
The truth is, well, I'll tell you the best way to tell the story is the day before we started shooting, I had a brunch on a Sunday. We started shooting on a Monday. I had a brunch out in California where I invited Matt and our director, Steven Soderbergh, and everybody, and my family was out there. And my son, Dylan, who's 12 years old, proceeded at the luncheon table to start to do the whole boogie-woogie sequence. And he was playing with his left hand, and he did 3 pages of monologue, which I do in that whole sequence. And Matt was thinking to himself, he said, "I am in great shape, because if Michael's son can perform this as well as he does, then I have some sense of how many hours Michael has spent practicing, that his son could hear this." And it was simply a fact that I was post-cancer and I had a lot of time in my hands. And Stephen and I had talked about the fact that if we could nail this boogie-woogie in the beginning of the movie, we don't have to worry about his piano playing a lot. So I got a particular tape of, there were many versions, but I got a particular tape of Lee, his friends called him Lee, Liberace, playing this boogie-woogie, and I just watched it for hours and hours, and I learned to match, completely kind of his movements. The angle that they shoot showing me playing it doesn't quite show you how deep the keys are being hit, but the fingers were in the right place.
And just one final question, if I may. Do you think I was trying to work out whether Liberace would have loved it because he wanted to be a movie star, or whether he'd have hated it because his secrets were out?
I think he would have loved this picture, but I don't think anybody would like to see a death scene now, would they?
Michael Douglas, we appreciate your time with us today. Thank you very much indeed.
What a treat. Nice to speak with you.